The rivalry between Airbus's A350 and Boeing's 787 Dreamliner has garnered more attention, scrutiny, and corporate pride than any other battle in the great aviation rivalry of the 21st century. Both aircraft had a common goal in their creation: to make long-haul flights, reduce fuel consumption, and provide airlines with a state-of-the-art wide-body workforce for decades to come. While both jets are skybound, flying reliably is the main goal. The other, despite its advanced technology, would struggle in corporate and real turbulence. The story begins in a boardroom rather than a design office. Airlines took a big leap forward in 2000. Low-cost long-haul flights were becoming more popular, fuel prices were rising, and passengers wanted more comfortable, quiet, and clean cabins. Both Boeing and Airbus were aware that their aging wide-bodies, especially the A340 and 767, were nearing the end of their useful lives. However, the response they chose told us a lot about their market strategy and engineering philosophy. Boeing has taken a bold first step. Instead of updating the 767, they proposed something revolutionary: a massively composite airframe, improved aerodynamics, next-generation engines, higher humidity cabins, and ambient lighting, all of which they would call the 787 Dreamliner promised innovation. Final assembly was supposed to be quick and easy, and key parts, such as wings and fuselage sections, were sourced from other countries around the world. In reality, this was not the case at all. Suppliers arrived late, some parts were not compatible. There was irregular quality control. For the first time, Boeing moved from being a manufacturer to an integrator, waiting for parts from around the world, some of which were defective or missing. Originally scheduled for delivery in 2008, the airplane would not be sold until 2011 due to numerous delays and cost overruns running into billions of dollars. The Dreamliner stumbled even after its first flight. The early years of the 787 were plagued by reliability issues, ranging from grounding incidents to battery fires. The idea was well received by airlines for its revolutionary range, fuel efficiency, and cabin comfort, but the way it was implemented caused some controversy. Despite the Dreamliner's eventual commercial success, Boeing's reputation would always bear the scars of its birth because it overpromised and underdelivered. Airbus adopted a more traditional strategy. The A350 would also use composite materials, but Airbus would have more direct control over the frame. Much of the production was still done in-house. While Boeing turned to partners, Airbus invested in its own production capabilities. The A350's carbon fiber fuselage sections were custom-made in Germany and Spain. Toulouse was the integration center. Quality was more reliable. The result? An aircraft that airlines trusted almost immediately, a relatively on-time entry into service in 2015, and a smooth development cycle. The A350 quickly became Airbus's long-haul flagship, thanks to its wider fuselage, efficient Rolls-Royce Trent XWB engines, and state-of-the-art avionics. The initial bugs that plagued the Dreamliner had been eradicated. There was no need for multiple redesigns and groundings. It also gave the A350-1000 and eventually the ultra-long-range A350-900 ULR flexibility that Boeing hadn't fully thought of because of its ability to expand. Corporate culture was more important than engineering in determining success or failure. After the merger with McDonnell Douglas, Boeing's focus shifted to shareholder priorities and cost-cutting. Finance managers gradually replaced or surpassed the engineers who once controlled the corridors of Everett. This environment led to the ambitious Dreamliner, overburdened by financial constraints and the idea that outsourcing could replace in-house knowledge. In contrast, Airbus had a lot of engineers still working. Yes, the A350 program was a reaction to pressure, but it was based on systematic development and systems-level thinking. While Airbus focused on improving control, Boeing tried to transform production, and it succeeded. This is not to say that the 787 is a failure, not at all. Boeing has now shipped more than 1,000 Dreamliners to customers around the world. Point-to-point international routes have become possible, thanks to the aircraft that brought composite structures into the commercial mainstream and changed the economics of long-haul. One downside, however, was the high cost. By the time Boeing recovered from the initial chaos of the 787, Airbus had quietly established a strong position with the A350. In addition, Boeing had to upgrade the old 777 to the 777X, while Airbus consolidated its dominance of the modern widebody. And airlines such as Qatar Airways, Singapore Airlines, and Cathay Pacific began to praise the A350 for its performance and reliability. But this also had bad effects. In the long-term market, trust is important. Timing is also important. important. When the A350 entered service, airlines were looking for efficient replacements for their A340s, 747s, and even early 777s. It delivered immediate fuel savings, reduced maintenance costs, and offered a cabin that passengers really loved. Fly-by-wire responsiveness was praised by pilots. Uptime was praised by operators. The 787, meanwhile, has had to overcome early stigma, despite getting better every year. It reflected Boeing's choice to push the boundaries of its processes and products. Because the Dreamliner was an improvement over the 767, many customers continued to order it, but they were all tested one by one. More importantly, Airbus did not have to exactly match each 787 variant as time went on. Instead of fragmenting the program, it focused on the A350 family to cover a wide range of missions, from standard long-haul to ultra-long-haul. In turn, Boeing had to balance the 787-8, 787-9, and 787-10, each of which required different operational compromises. Both the A350 and 787 will continue to operate for many years to come. Both have earned a place in the fleets of the world's leading airlines, but their legacies are not the same. As well as being a technological revolution, the Dreamliner had set itself the task of guarding against having too much ambition without matching it with the right application. It was a warning to everyone. The A350 became the best example of improving the formula by noting the competitors' mistakes. The A350's success was as much due to Boeing's missteps as its design. Ultimately, the 787 forced the entire industry to think bigger, build lighter, and fly farther despite its challenges. One flew, one crashed, but both took a step that changed the skies. As the aviation industry enters a new era characterized by automation, sustainability, and post-pandemic recovery, the lessons learned from the A350 and 787 are more important than ever. Will a well-considered evolution like the A350 or another ambitious redesign like the Dreamliner bring the next big leap? Will Airbus continue its dominance in the skies with quiet consistency, or will Boeing regain its leading position? More importantly, what should be the top priority for the next generation of aircraft? Efficiency, passenger experience, creativity, reliability? Because in the end, it's not just about who can build the lightest or fastest jet. It's all about who wins and keeps the trust of the skies. What are your thoughts? Was the 787 prematurely ambitious? Did Airbus win by being smart or being cautious? And whose cockpit would you rather be in when the next generation wide bodies arrive? Let's discuss in the comments. The final piece of this complex puzzle may be your vision. The people